Hola, what a journey we've all been on. And you have been my anchors through this journey. So I'm keeping all of you going forwards. My research is around building mediated communication efficacy in terms of building stronger consultant client relationship in the professional communications field. I looked at how is digital communication technology used in successful professional consultant client relationship. And to answer that, I dove even further into looking at which forms of digital interactions create the strongest relationships in professional settings and what can be done through digital media to create effective communication with clients. So that answering those questions took me into a self-study, which was very interesting because self-study is generally only used by educators, where they are looking at their teaching methods to share that information. And I pulled self-study out into my consulting world, and it was a tough journey. I used the lens of an interpretive paradigm, and I had to take my consulting story and use it to do my study. Uh, Self-explanatory, self-study. It's definitely bearing your soul to the world and for learning. But I'm so excited about what I learned. I ran a 3-month pilot project from March to May, where I kept a intensive field journal on every client and every interaction every day, at the same time as doing a deep dive into a lit review around communication competencies in non-mediated and mediated communication, as well as bringing in media ecology into that. So the 3-month pilot project led me to a 1-week intensive main study, which I did in May. I used 6 of my clients, and those 6 were located all across British Columbia, in every part of British Columbia, as well as Alberta. It didn't really matter in the study where they were located because I am never in the same place. So while I recorded their distance from my office, it was really in my office. This research has been done in airports, really, taxis, hotel rooms, uh, coffee shops all over BC and Alberta, a couple jaunts down into Mexico. So definitely we were working through the CMC, right? The mediated communication with my clients. The clients were very diverse, and not just in location, both male and female. Not everyone has English as their first language. They ranged from in their 30s to in their 50s, and lots of diversity in terms of business or industry that they're working in, everything from education to tourism, forestry to maintenance, to First Nations, just a really wide variety in what I was studying. So that made it really exciting. Um, in terms of theory, I mentioned media ecology. So I brought in, much to my surprise, Marshall McLuhan's um, The Medium is the Message. And I first heard this theory in the early days of grad school 2 years ago, and I didn't really buy into it. Kind of thought, "Oh, that's nice," and put it aside. And it was definitely not a theory that I sunk my teeth into at the time. And yet, um, it really came to life in my research, and I really got to see through my research that McLuhan was right. Back in 1964, when he was developing a theory for television, and he had enough foresight into this crazy mediated world that we work in now, and how noisy and staticky and dislocated and distracted that it is, and all of the uh, communication problems that we are having in that, that that theory is very true, and it proved to be true in my research. So much to my surprise, I learned in my research that McLuhan was right. The medium is the message, and we have to be very, very aware of that as communicators in today's digital world. What I was really excited to pull out of that was some insight that while the medium is the message, the medium is not the relationship, and that we have to build this relationship with our clients, and it can't all be mediated. That there has to be this marriage of non-mediated, mediated communication competencies. When during my study, when I ran into miscommunication with clients, it was solved by non-mediated competencies being brought into the conversation. Face-to-face was not possible during the entire week of this study. I was on the road, but voice-to-voice at least grounded us back into our working relationship, and allowed us to carry on then with our digital communication and understand each other and be effective and productive. Um, what I was so excited to come out of the end of this with is a framework that I developed. I developed a framework of 5 communication competencies that I scored my clients through to look at how effective our communication was, and if we were reaching communication efficacy in our mediated communication. Such a great learning process. I'm just so excited about this, and I'll be bringing that framework forward definitely, and using it myself, and hopefully broader than that. It really worked. So I'm so excited about that. And I'm excited about all of the further research ideas there are stemming from my research. And who knows which ones I might dive back into. Basically, my outcome from this research is that communication efficacy is grounded in communication competencies found both in non-mediated and mediated communication. There are a lot of scholars or some scholars who really got excited about this addition of mediated communication and did a lot of study into complementing non-mediated communication with these mediums. But now we have to come full circle and really look at that there shouldn't be a disconnect between non-medium and non-mediated and mediated communication. They need to be linked to create efficacy. And I'm so excited about that. So basically, that is how I answered my question around how do we create effective communication in client to consultant relationships. In this mediated world. And I developed this framework, and it's working. And I'd love to talk more about it. So anybody that's interested in discussing it further can certainly chat with me about that, because I love to chat about it. So to all of you, I'm here at the head of the Douglas Strait on the west coast of BC today, and saying take care.